Hello, I am Kodili-nye, the son of the wonderful. We are back again. This is another street vlogging, and I do believe that you will join and you will listen and you will also share this interactive session. And I do believe that you will like, comment, share, and subscribe to what we are going to discuss here. I'm still Kodili-nye, the son of the wonderful. And we are going to introduce what we need to introduce to discuss and also to share this, because this is very important. Remember, this channel is a pro-homeland channel. What I mean pro-homeland channel is anything about Anambra State, Igbo, Nigeria, and anything good that can be used to change the narrative in every part of the world. So today we are going to talk about providing food for all, providing the sustainability food for all. Because having done the other vlog, and people were saying to me, is it possible to provide food for all? And I know it's possible, and they ask, how can you discuss how this can be possible in a place like Anambra State? And I said, yes, it's quite possible. It's not a rocket science, only that our politicians make things to look very difficult and make things to something that can take 6 months or 1 year. It can take them 50 years or even 30 years or 30 something years. Let me give you an example. It's taking Anambra State almost 33 years or more just to have finally a government house. So that has shown how the state has actually deviated or stagnated over the years. And it's taking Anambra State almost 30 something years to construct another to start to construct dual carriage roads in the state. You think about that, the state called Anambra State, with so many human resources and all those things, has not been able to construct dual carriageways in the state, except the 6th Avenue. And the 6th Avenue was not really constructed in a way that should have encourage development, because the old road that passed through that was not completely constructed. If the whole old road was dualized, you would have seen completely a different thing. But that's not what we are talking about. It will come in our next video edition, so that you can understand why these things are not rocket science, but it can be done. First of all, you look at Anambra State. Can the land size accommodate that? Yes, it can, because Anambra State is over 4,000 kilometers of land size square. So meaning that it can accommodate to provide food for all. Another thing is that, can the weather condition accept that or accommodate that? Yes, the weather is very good, because it has two weather condition, which is hot or dry seasons and rainy season, and it rains almost 4 to 6 months a year. So another thing is that does the people know how to do these things? That's where the problem lies. And does government has a policy to provide food for all? That's where the problem lies. At the moment, the government has no policy on that. That's where the necessity or the urgency of this vlog. That's why you need to share this, so that the government itself will know how to solve this problem. I'm now starting with yam production, or potatoes and cocoyams. These can be provided in quantum. What I mean in quantum, in plentifulness or in a lot more than we can consume, so that we don't need to get it from outside the state. You heard about the legendary bag farming. Bag farming has been in existence for a long time, only that is new in Nigeria. It's been in African countries for over 10 years. I've been saying these things about bag farming, but it was not, people were not taking it. But recently they start. I'm telling you, if the government is very, very proactive, as I was talking to one of the Ekulobia indigenous when he was critical of our Soludo building all those roads and the flyovers, that Ekulobia doesn't need flyovers, that rather it should go to the erosion site and do the needful on that. And I said to him that Ekulobia need the flyovers, he need to the roads to dualized, and also that the erosion site can also be turned around. And I told him that what can be done. And on the course of doing this food issue started. And I told him what can also Ekulobia can bring out to the nation. That's when I started talking about that. I told him that, do you know that Ekulobia can produce 1 billion yam? And the guy was in shock. I said to him, he can. And I said to him, and that Ekulobia can have yam flour processing area in Ekulobia. He said to me, how? And I explained to him, that's what I'm about to introduce to you, that Anambra can produce 2 billion yams annually. And that 2 billion yams can create a big industry, and it can create an ecosystem that industrialization will be looking for, will be realized in 1 to 2 years. And how can this thing be done? Basically by actually by the government of Anambra State, led by Gov.Soludo, to listen to this. So what I told the guy is that in Ekulobia, that what they need to do is to encourage the people to group themselves together. They now have a target that this group has to produce this number. So I started giving figures. I said this group will be charged to produce 100,000 yam. And he said, where would the land for that? I said, the land is not a problem. What is a problem is the ignorance of the people to overcome their challenges. So I told him there's bag farming, that the bags can be supplied, the seed yam can be produced. So I told him many ways the seed yam can be produced to do these things. And when I explained all those things, and he was shocked. And that's what I'm trying to explain now. So the bag farming can actually bring the sustainability or provide food for all in the state. So I'm talking about yam and potatoes. So this can be done. So now, using that Ekulobia story, that the state will now gather these 181 towns or villages in Anambra State. A lot of them will be charged with providing between the cooperative. All those village groups will be charged to, okay, these people, you are going to provide us 50,000 yams, these 100,000 yams. So you find out in one village alone, they might be able to provide something like 100,000 to 1 million yams. So some will provide up to 5 million. So the government will now source for those that will do the seed yams. Those seed yams by what they call marketing. That marketing involves buying a full yam tuber and cutting it into smaller pieces. And by cutting it into smaller pieces, what they will do is they will now use it to produce seed yam in 6 months. So because this thing is going to run within a year or two, So the seed yam will be produced, billions of seed yams will be produced. And remember, the government will start with seed yam provision by getting a lot of tubers. One tuber can give something like between 30 to 50 seed yams, marketed seed yams. So now, when they now produce this, so the government will now acquire between 100,000 or 1 million tubers. So that 1 million tubers, it will now involve in the project producing seed yams. And this seed yam, let's give, if we have 1 million yams, and each of the yam producing 50 each. So you are actually having 50 million. So now you have actually acquired a lot already. You have already acquired 50 million. You are 50 million seed yams to be planted. So these seed yams, some of them will produce 2, some of them will produce 3. So now, let's give that they produce 2. So 2, you will now have seed yam after 6 to 8 months of 100 million. So because your target is to produce 2 billion yams annually. So now 100 million yams, seed yams, you now distribute it to those people you have selected that will produce the yam. So they now produce after let's call it a year. So the second year, so they are now going to, after that 1 year, they now deploy that 100 million yam, seed yams. And those 100 million yams automatically will give you no less than 100 million tubes. Some of them can produce 2, some can produce 3. But let's give that they all produce one. So you have 100 million tube yams. And this 100 million tube yams already is a lot. So now what the government can do with it is that, considering that we are talking about multiplication, we are trying to multiply, to get 2 billion yams. So in the second year, now you have 100 million tube yams. So these 100 million tube yams will not be sold. It will not be used for anything. Now, what you now use with that 100 million, remember our calculation that we said that when we are going to use that to produce seed yams, we are going to cut it into between 30 to 50. Let's use 50. So that 50, you now times it by 50 by 50. That's 100 million yams, tube yams, into 50. So if you times it by 50, basically you are having 500,000 yam, 500,000 seed yams that you are planting. So when you plant it, now 500,000 tube yams you are going to plant will now begin to get you seed yams. Let's now say that some of them will give you 2, some will give you 3. You are now having almost a billion seed yam you are going to plant. So this is in the 3rd year. So you see, in the 3rd year, because this will run between 2 to 4 years. So that 500,000 yam, because this one system is far cheaper to apply. So you now have a situation that the 3rd year you are now having a billion seed yam to plant. So a billion seed yam to plant, automatically you are going to have 2 billion or 1.5 billion yam. You are actually going to have 2 billion yams, tubers. Now the process of industrialization will now start. So you now start having from that tube yam 10% of it annually to produce, to keep on increasing. Others will be giving out sold out. Some will now be for industrial production of flour in the state. So that's what we are going to stop here. We are going to stop here because this is only part one of this series, providing food for all. So this can be done. We were going to do part two, and we are going to continue from there. I don't know what you think about this. Remember, this is now around 2 to 4 years program to produce 2 billion yams. You know, if you add potatoes, it will be even more. But let's now use only yam. So what is your own thought about this? Do you think this can be done? If you think it can be done, go to the comment section, and you will see that this what we are, and you see how you can actually contribute to this burning desire. I think this the topic of this will say the journey to produce food for all. Soludo begins the journey to produce food for all. Part 1. See you in the next one. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And God bless you. See you. Bye.